Welcome to The Factor. On the deep dive segment, I spoke with Bisi Ogunwale, a member of the All Progressive Congress and a former banker who in 2015 ran for the Oke Ogun constituency seat at the Kwara State House of Assembly. He was 31 years old at the time. He lost his party's primary to the incumbent, and recently he released a book, Stepping Out, A Rookie's Guide to Nigeria's Politics, in which he documented his experience. I started off by asking him why he wrote the book. So, BC, why did you write the book?
I think it was important for the book to be written for two reasons. One, a lot of people don't get to talk about what goes on in the political space. I don't know why, but I think it's important that people get to understand what is going on in that place. For a lot of people, the question keeps coming, how do I do this? How do I do that? What do I need to do next? What do you think about this? I think it's important that there's a resource that people can go to sort of just have an idea of what they need to do and sort of have where to start from. And then secondly, there are a whole lot of things that people do not understand around how the party system works. For example, a lot of people just believe that elections is all about voting. People don't understand that before it gets to the level of voting on the elections day, there are other processes that would have started before then. So it's also important to also put that into context so that people understand how party politics works and not just basically, electioneering and all of that.
Before running for office in 2015, Ogunwale said he wasn't going to buy the votes of delegates in his party's primary. But by the time he saw the culture within his party, he decided to play the game. He chose to play the game. I asked him if it is possible to stand firm on such an issue, knowing that it is wrong. Is it possible, for instance, for people to go in with, say, look, I don't want to do this because I know fundamentally it is wrong, and then I don't do it?
It's not possible. So that's the answer, point and simple. But what I think we can do going forward is how do we begin to reform the process such that we can have direct primaries instead of delegate, primaries. How do we ensure that that happens? It has happened before in this country, so it's nothing new to us that we're going to have delegates-free primaries where every member of the political party, get a chance to say, this is the person that I want him to or her to represent me as a candidate of the political party in the general elections. Fundamentally, members of the political party need to begin to think about financial responsibility to the party. And then with financial status in the party, you can get to be part of the, people who will be allowed to vote for candidates during elections. So those are some of the reforms that I think we need to go back to. For example, I think in 1999, there were some parties who had direct primaries to choose who their candidates were going to be in the 1999 election. It hasn't happened since then, but I think it's something that we must go back to.
Yeah, but you keep saying we must go back to it, but if the people who control the party have no interest, because of course they control the party right now, and they are the ones who populate the NEC and the NWC and so on, so at what point is it going to happen?
I think the real reason why you say people who control the party is, yes, there's no point denying that there are no people controlling the party, but how and why do they control the party is the question we should ask ourselves. The party has activities and programs that it needs to do. Some people are responsible for financing those activities and financing those programs. So automatically they will be the one to take decision for what the party does, regardless of what the generality of the members of the party thinks. So can we go back to a state where we have party membership with a subscription level where you pay at least to be a member of the political party? It happens everywhere in the world.
No, yeah, you've said that, I'm saying, but they are not letting that happen.
If it's just a thing that members need to ask for. It's not, we go to convention, people raise their hands to state stores. So if members want it, it's something that will be brought up at some point. It's just like in an assembly where every member has a right to speak. So it's not as if they are not letting it happen. People are not asking for it.
So how many members like you are asking for this right now?
So now the question is, people don't even know. So part of the responsibility that people like me have in the party is to begin to, enlighten members of the political party what their responsibility are. People don't know the reason why they're members of the political party. They just believe that, you know what, I need to have a party card, or someday in the future there must be something that people will now be saying, which party do you belong to? Maybe yes, I can get that opportunity, but that's not why we're there. The reason why we're there is to make better the democracy. The fundamental democratic institution that we have anywhere in the world are the political parties. And it is what happens in the political party that will determine what will happen entirely as, the polity of that particular country.
If Ogunwale's party reform ideas are to take root, one of the first things that need to be done is for all political parties to have a publicly accessible and up-to-date membership register. There's really no reason why that isn't the case right now. It's like the easiest thing to do. The APC in 2014 made a lot of noise and spent huge amounts of cash on a membership registration drive. But where exactly is that data? I asked Ogunwale. The one that was done by the APC just before 2015 election, where is it?
We don't know. I mean, I cannot say I don't know, but I mean, the generality of people don't know. There are database, scattered everywhere. A consolidated database accessible by the general public is supposed to be available. That's one of the things that we should be asking for. And to be honest with you, this particular one, some of us worked on it as an assignment that was given by some political leaders in the party. But the party as an organization hasn't, the members of the party as an organization haven't come to ask, where is this stuff? Until you ask for it, you honestly don't get answers to so many things. If you keep asking, that's when you would eventually have answers.
Ogunwale told me that he doesn't believe that older politicians, the political elite, are trying to alienate young voters from the political process. I asked him then why there are so few young people within political party structures and even in the government. Why then do you think that there are very few young people? And you said it over and over in your book about the fact that you're in the party executive, running for office, there are just so few young people doing it. Why do you think that is the case?
One of the things that we need to understand as young people is we need to come away from our sense of entitlement, because one of the things we think is we're more sharp, we're more brilliant, we're more exposed than the people who are running, the shots in the political parties. We might be right, but they built the party, you didn't build it. So you can't just go there because you think you're sharper than them, because you're brilliant than them, because you're more exposed than them, and we tell them, you know what, just give me this stuff. You have to go into the political party with the mind of, I need to work for the party, I need to build capacity, I need to build trust over time and gain acceptance of these people so that they can entrust some of the activities and programs of the party and then some sort of structure onto you. A lot of us think that, because we've worked in God knows different places in the world and then we have brilliant ideas, we just think that these guys don't know what they're doing. Whether you believe it or not, they think that, we build this thing, it's our own. You want it, you have to come to ask for it. It's not going to be handed to you.
Yeah, but then...
But hold on. So if you now say you have young people who are, saying that we cannot join these old men to sit down, to have conversation, how do you begin to think about passing up baton to these people? It's not going to happen. For example, I've seen some of my friends who say, how can you be going, all the way from Lagos to go and be attending ward meetings in Kwara, to go and be sitting down with these old women, and you don't have things to do with your time? That's the kind of mentality that we have. We think that politics is a waste of time. Again, some people genuinely believe that, it's dangerous, it's dirty. The moment you identify yourself as somebody that wants to get into political space, you are labeled something else. A lot of my friends have called me to say, now that you're one of them, come and give us part of the money that you people are stealing now. And I'm always wondering, we need to begin to change our perception. I have a friend in Lagos, right, who wanted to run for election in Lagos. And the first thing he did was to say, this is the party, this is the ward secretary, and this is the ward secretariat. When is the meeting? Every Thursday evening. Before the political people that were the owner of the parties came, he would have sat down there waiting for them. For 7 consecutive months, he was at their meetings if he was in Lagos. One day, one of the party leaders called him and said, this is the guy I think we should be talking to now. That should be our next candidate for local government chairperson in this area.
But even in your book, you alluded to the fact that that's like an exception. You, for instance, you are attending the meetings, you are meeting these people, and you mentioned so many times when they start telling you how your father married your mother and how they knew the day you were born, and why are you coming up now to, and they call your mother to tell her, why are you allowing your child to get into this game? So fundamentally, they are not even willing to have this conversation you talk about.
Okay, so the question you should think about is, this is not only applicable to politics. The generation before us believed that we are not old enough to do the things that they did during their own time at our own age. It's a shame on their generation because they inherited this country at a time when they were about our own age, and they've never thought about how they would train people that are coming behind them to pass on the baton to them. Fundamentally, people see you as still very young, even at the age of 40 or even some very close to 50, because they believe that the cultural belief is that, you're supposed to be learning from your elders. I'm not sure that the cultural way of thinking here believes that there's a point where you are not learning anymore. You're supposed to be taking responsibility even for the people that are before you. I see myself as too old to be doing what I'm doing right now. Because, everybody will claim that they're young people. But I'm not young anymore. My mates have moved on in different parts of the world. I'm asking myself this question. Same question I asked my father years ago will be the same question my children will ask me if I don't do anything right now. Point is, young people need to go in there. There's something we call intergenerational pally that we have to do. We need to bombard that space and ask for what is rightly ours. Nobody will ask you to come. You have to go.
He described to me how he felt when he was asked by the APC leader in Kwara State to quit the race in 2015. Walk me through how you felt when you were asked in 2015, 2014 to step down for the incumbent at that time.
It was a very annoying experience. And like you've read in the book, I didn't agree to it, because I thought it was the wrong thing to do. And even when it was glaring that if I don't agree to it, I was going to lose that primary election, we still did not agree to it. Why? Because one of the fundamental things that you should know here in this part of the world is everybody believes that for you to leave something on the account of being asked or begged to leave it, money or something in sort of favor must have, exchanged hands. I made a point to note in the book that not a penny was given to me and even asked for. I was angry to the extent that people saw the extent of my anger, and other parties came to approach me to say that, would you want to run on our political system? But I won't do that. I'm not one politician that would say because I didn't get my way here, I would jump ship to go to anywhere. I've always been on the side of what this same political party has been since I joined the party in 2003. And I don't know where we will be tomorrow, because there's always evolution of things around the political parties in this climb. We might be in APC tomorrow, we might be somewhere else tomorrow, I don't know. But it would be on the same trajectory that I've been all my life. Why? I believe strongly that there is always a time for everybody. In that space, if you continue in that particular space, something will give at some point, and then you would have your day. What we must always make sure that we're ready for is, when that time comes, there's that readiness to be able to show capacity, to be able to show that, okay, I've always wanted to do this and this is what I can do, and then we can build on that way.
So Ogunwale felt aggrieved after losing out, but remained with the APC, choosing not to defect. Did he stay back because he felt that there's a fundamental difference between his party, the APC, and the PDP, for instance?
No. See, let's be honest with ourselves. There's nothing like political ideology in this country right now. We say we're progressive. We've come with people who are on the other side. So it's not like we're different from them. I am not one of the people that will say because they were PDP, they are this, because we are APC, we are that. No. I do not see any fundamental difference in what the political parties are right now. I see an opportunity for us to differentiate ourselves going into the future, but at this point in time, no. And you see, the truth of the matter is, the only reason why I stay back is I do not want to be on record as one person that has been here, and then going everywhere, all in the name of, okay, we are looking for your individual self instead of looking for the common goal of the people.
I asked him what he thought about the idea of a third force wresting power away from the current ruling elites in the APC and the PDP. Yeah, I had Obieze Kwesili on the show some weeks ago, and she spoke with disdain about the two major parties, the PDP and the APC. Of course, you know, she's clamoring for a third force, so to speak, a red card movement that she talks about. What do you think about a third force coming into the space?
See, fundamentally, I think the country is ripe for as many as possible forces that you can ever think of. But I have a problem with people coming together to form an alliance just before elections in the interest of trying to, gain power. There are fundamental things that we should think about. I do not want to mention parties or any movement because, I don't speak for any of the political parties or even my own party. But I speak for myself in the interest of, can we begin to build structure that will live beyond just basically winning election? One of the things that we've suffered as a party is the fact that we were not fully prepared for some of the eventualities that we saw after the election was won and then, we gained power. And we still battle with a couple of the things that have happened to us over the last over the last 3 years up until date. But there's immense opportunity for us to build on where we are and then go forward, creating a very formidable foundation for a very democratic and, progressive and forward-looking party going into the future. Those will be some of the things that I will be thinking about. So if there's any other set of people, group that wants to form a third force or fourth force or fifth force or whatever force you want to form, my advice is, can we begin to look beyond just elections and individuals in offices? Can we begin to look at building fundamental structures that would outlive whoever built it or whoever is clamoring for it at that point in time?
After the APC primary in 2015, Ogunwale was named as a coordinator of then candidate Buhari's campaign in Kwara State. So I wanted to know what he thought about the performance of the incumbent APC administration, which he helped bring to power.
Like I wrote in the book, I think we had a very massive opportunity for us to, do fantastic things. And then it's on record that we actually worked to get those things done. But we've wasted a lot of capital in terms of, political capital in terms of, getting the right set of people to work on some of the projects that we think that would take us to where we're going. I must say that I am not particularly happy with where we are as a country and even as a government and as a party, but we've significantly done a bit of work on where we started from. And again, communication has been very poor, I must say that. There are a whole lot of things that are happening in different parts of the country on the account of this current administration, which I think should be spoken more about or should be given some highlight in the communication. One of the major problems we have as a people is that there is trust deficit between the government and the led. And then the major responsibility of every government is to see how we're going to repair that trust and build trust over time and capacity to be able to gain stakeholder engagement in all the things that we're going to do. There's a lot of room for improvement, but a whole lot of things still needs to be done.
You think you should run again?
Yes.
You think would you back him again?
Yes, I will.
Why?
Okay, so fundamentally, I am a realist, and I believe that we've seen the worst of what can happen in this administration. And going from here now is for us to build on the things that has happened. So, we've been at our lowest ever. And there's no other place to go again than to go up. So, do I want to now start to campaign from, let's start all over again? One of the fundamental things that is wrong with
that's a troubling election point. Like you're saying, I'm supporting this candidate because we can't go below this.
One of the troubling and fundamental problems that we have in the political system in Nigeria today is with every administration, we are dragged back to, where we used to be. So for me, supporting another candidate or, starting all over in 2019 does not make any sense to me. I'm not saying President Buhari is the best person to run this country right now, but as we are today, he has a right to contest. And as a party member, yes, I have absolute responsibility to my party and to the candidate and to the president to support him. And I believe that with the team that APC has built and with the crop of things that, are beginning to come out, especially with economic recovery and growth plan that, is being discussed at the moment, and then some of the implementation are coming into place. I strongly believe that, yes, the team can run again up until 2022, 2023, next general election.
I also asked him why he wants to run again in 2019 for the Oke-Ogun constituency seat at the Kwara State House of Assembly. Why are you running?
One of the reasons why I run in the first instance is that as a person, I know that I have a responsibility to this country, to my people who I represent, who I wanted to represent in the first instance. And more beyond that, I have a responsibility for the people of my age group, people who are coming behind me. Why? We've learned from the best of the best in the world. We've learned from the best of the best in Africa. We've learned from the best of the best in Nigeria. It is only responsible for us to be able to pass some of this knowledge back to the people and also show that things can be done differently from, the way it's been done. We've led, the country has been led through many military and dictatorial, regime. And we need to be able to start that orientation around things can be done rightly. People are doing, wonderful things in different places, but we need more such, persons to get involved. I believe that I can galvanize people, resources, capital to do better things for my people and for the country.
So are the powers that be supporting you this time?
I have never asked any power that be to support me. I've always asked.
So how crucial they were the last time?
It's important that you know that, we create this myth around power that be. Power that be, as you call them, political godfathers as people call them, or party stakeholders as people call them, are also looking for important things to achieve in their different communities or in their different constituencies or in their different areas. And they are looking for ready, able, and progressive young people, men and women, to do these things. So if you display capacity, if you display, proficiency, that you can do these things, yes, you will be able to get their support to do the things that, you want done. And I believe that I've done that over the years.
Finally, I asked Ogunwale to share with me the biggest lesson from his last campaign.
And that will be the same lesson I will be passing on to a lot of young people. We go to school to learn, whether to become a doctor, whether to become a lawyer, whether to become an accountant or an engineer, whatever it is. And then you go on to practice that particular profession. But there's one thing which is called political system in this country that we don't study, we don't understand it, we don't know it, but we want to disrupt it. That language is always common, that we need to disrupt this environment. We need to study political process, political system, and political parties as we study to get degrees, as we study to get, professional qualification. Have a good understanding of how this structure works. See how you can work in those, environment, and how you can, change some things that you think, need to be changed. Strategically working between, different diverse ideas, groups, and interest. Those were some of the lessons that I learned from that experience. I'm far better than what I was in 2013, 2014, going into the race in 2014. If I were to do the same thing again, yes, I would do some of the things that I did, but a whole lot of things that I did will be done differently. Because now I sort of understand far better than what I knew when I was going into the election or into the primaries then. So for young people out there, you need to get involved with the party and try to understand how the party system works. And that's the only way, things can get better.
All right, that's all the time we have for this edition of The Factor. See you next time. Bye-bye.